Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Do It Like Danny. Thursday edition?
Thursday edition. Continuation.
I don't even know what happened. If you listened to yesterday's episode, obviously we were like,
We're all crying about it.
We're all crying about
Freedoms are taken.
Hopefully you're having a better evening, day, morning, whatever you are doing today. We hope that you are celebrating your own pride, whether that's being gay or whether you straight pride. Straights can be prideful too.
Isn't that crazy?
Whatever, fuck it. Colonizers, celebrate your pride, colonizers. I'm sure there's something everybody can celebrate every single day, and that's what we want to do. Why don't you just celebrate? In other gay news, so I don't know if you heard, so in Seattle, the Mariners, at the Mariners game, they had this promotion where they actually launch hot dogs over the audience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I don't know if you heard that. So there was this big thing of like people were actually fighting over the hot dogs. They'd eject people out of the game because they were fighting. And they had them like coming down on balloons. Lou will find a photo and you can see. But they literally had them like little parachutes and they're giving hot dogs.
Can I interject real quick? You didn't open up the show.
Didn't?
No.
What do you mean?
You always go, welcome to Do It Like Danny, and then we cut for the...
Oh, shit. Well, with that being said, go eat a hot dog. Welcome to Do It Like Danny.
There we go.
I'm going to tell a million stories, and maybe one will hit home, and you'll be like, wow, that happened to me. And it's not about me. What is? You know, television is a very, very crazy beast. I learned so much at Tyra. This is real emotion. This is something that I experienced.
I want the world to see what I have always seen, and that is the love that you have for just being yourself.
I love this person who knows who he is, who can make people laugh.
I think the script I gave you was a little bit different, but I'll take that.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm drinking at work because it's my show. I drink on my show. Okay, we're back. Now that we officially started the show, we can talk about more gay things. So, or hot dogs, yes. So as I said before, you know, the Seattle Mariners were launching hot dogs all over people. Oh, the colonizers, aren't they fun? Speaking of Crackers Barrel.
Saltines.
Cracker Barrel recently... I don't know if you heard, Cracker Barrel's they're kind of hurting.
Oh.
So for those of you who have never been to a Cracker Barrel.
Me.
Really? It's local. There's like one in like, I don't know, but they're like in, like not desert communities. They're like, you know, where there's, this is horrible, where the things that cause tornadoes.
Yeah.
What are the things that cause tornadoes? Trailer parks. Yeah, trailer parks. So they're near trailer parks. And that's horrible. And that's a horrible assumption, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. People think I'm gay. So anyway, speaking of assumptions, so Cracker Barrel recently released a statement saying that they're not as relevant as they used to be.
You know who isn't also relevant? Red Lobster. They're also going out of business.
Well, I was going to say because Cracker Barrel people are dead. I mean...
The generations just
have
didn't
you
come
seen
through.
the food that they serve to
Never.
you? It's like country fried steak smothered in like delicious country gravy.
Oh,
It's
wow.
amazing and wonderful. Like the food's really good there if you like want to have a heart attack in the next 15 minutes. Poor Cracker Barrel. You know, I also think too, I think the eating out is very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to
specifically
cook a lot of my
right
own
now,
food.
it's really bad. For two people, it's like $80.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, for three people, it's like $120. It's insane.
I mean, it really is insane.
And like a drink is like $15. A beer's $8. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah, when you can just go to Costco and buy like a whole case for $8.
Yes, exactly. I've started reverting to making pizza at home.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I love making pizza.
Me too.
Oh, I love cooking. I'm getting hungry. You know, speaking of insane and the world has lost its mind, I don't know if you've heard also too. As we do all these news stories, we're taking Angelo's spot.
We have to take Angelo's spot
take
since he
Angelo's
was
spot.
let go last
What are we
week.
gonna do? Poor Angelo, he's dead. I mean, he's okay. He's fine.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. Besides, these are all current events that we're talking about. Cousin Angelo's amazing, wonderful, and fantastic, but there is a little bit of decade. We're decade challenge. That's the new word. I'm going to rebrand it. We're decade challenge.
That's a good one.
People should pay me to rebrand.
Oh, yeah.
Before I get unalived. Oh, God. The world has lost its mind. North Korea has been sending trash right?
Is that like the big war they're trying to finish off? Take our trash.
Yeah, and it's like a big thing. They sent like over 15 tons
Aye.
balloons.
Yeah.
That were carrying bags of trash over enemy lines into South Korea. # gifts from North Korea. Like, it's so crazy. People have lost their minds. But then a part of me was like, I kind of like that.
In what way? So, like, you can send people trash? All your enemies?
I'm not confirming. And I'm not denying.
Oh, man.
But, I mean,
you got some ideas for next time.
Not bad. I mean, somewhere in a room in North Korea, they were like, trash, balloons. Like,
Oh,
I mean, who thought of that? Like, who? I mean, that takes a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see that. Well, could you see it in a cartoon? I'm trying to think if you've ever seen it in a cartoon.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm trying to think if we ever seen it on television. Like, what influences are you taking in that you're just one day in a meeting and you're like, let's send our trash over?
I mean, it's creative. It's a very creative.
I think it's very creative, and I think that we should start doing that here.
Oh my God, imagine. Just start sending Gaza our trash.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Oh man, that's wild.
Yeah, just saying.
I'm surprised the Russians don't do that to Ukraine.
Well,
they might win. It's such a small little country.
They're gonna put radiation in it. But then also, too, a part of me is like, well, why didn't South Korea shoot them down? Like, before they had the opportunity
They probably
to
didn't
fall
know
over.
at first. They're like, what is this? And they open up and they all start coming down. It's all trash.
And also, they're saying that there's also toilet paper that's been
Used.
Yeah. Like, they're sending over their poop. Like, that's
it's all
crazy.
Kim Jong-un's from the last 15 years.
Kind of, I don't know. I think that's really inventive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to, like, condone that kind of behavior. I mean, don't cancel me. Oh, God, here we go again. Don't J-Lo me.
It makes for good content. Thank you, Kim Jong-un.
Thank you, J-Lo. So,
Speaking of
J-Lo, we're dying to talk about J-Lo. Dying to talk about J-Lo. But I was laughing because in our group text, you sent the text message, have you guys heard about J-Lo?
Yeah.
And I was laughing deep inside because I felt like it was an Angelo moment. Because I'm like, Louis, that's been going on for like 2 months. Like, ever since she released her album, which, God bless her, it's just not a good album.
Well, not only that, I mean, just, you know, she was so popular at one point, and just like on a dime, people just turn against her. Like, they hate her now.
Well, you know, there's a couple of things out there. You know, for those of you that don't know, J-Lo was, you know, reports are that her concert sales were suffering and that her new album obviously had flopped. When she had released, I'm going to go on tour with this new album, people were like, you know what I mean?
Good.
Like, we heard it.
Stay home.
We're going to be all right, right? So then they rebranded the tour, and they said that it was going to be like her greatest hits.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think that just wasn't enough. So it was like a domino thing, right? So then there were reports, because she's going back to her Vegas residency. And
Well, she was
Vegas,
supposed to.
she's supposed to. Did she cancel that too?
I thought because of the ticket sales were so low that's what was in jeopardy, was that Vegas residency.
We're going to have to ask Angelo.
Yeah.
Maybe Angelo will know what happened to J-Lo. You know, maybe his sources will confirm or no, they deny things. So, what I will say also, too, so she released a statement saying that she canceled it because she wanted to be with her family.
That was the funniest
And
thing.
I thought to myself, aren't you with them every day?
That's a good PR right there.
What have you been doing, girl? You got married. Bennifer got married.
Yep.
And I heard their relationship is also kind of strained. And it's interesting because, like, you don't really know, like, the truth. You don't know what's, you know, being thrown out there to either distract us from the concert tour or, you know, vice versa.
And you have a lot of stories about that kind of stuff, too.
I do have a lot
which
of
we have to
stories
get
about
into that at a later time.
Lots of stories.
So you kind of know how that inner working of the PR system works.
Yeah, and the truth be told, sometimes some of these stories that come out are planted, and it's to distract. It's their own little sending trash over in balloons, and that's kind of the way that it works out on television. And if somebody denies that and says, "Oh, that's not true. We don't do that," then they're lying. But yeah, but I mean, poor J-Lo, I just think that she's, again, I think I've said this before. I just think at this time she, like Beyonce and like Madonna, are just surrounded by yes people.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, like, I've heard, like, you know, that she's quite the diva, and I think that, like, I think that as a nation, we kind of enjoy seeing women fail, especially strong women, right?
Okay.
Especially men.
I was going to
Straight
say, are you
men,
sure it's just women? Because I think it's kind of both. Anybody that's a celebrity, we do like to watch fall.
We do, but then also, like, on the other side of that coin, like, look at Johnny Depp, which Angelo, I'm sure, will fill you all in on Johnny. I mean, look at Johnny Depp. I mean, he could have been the aggressor.
Yeah.
You know, yes, I think the catalyst in her losing was the poop on the bed, right? Which is physical evidence. It's kind of hard to get away from that,
Yeah.
and not to beat a dead horse or dead poop.
Well,
But-
that and probably the finger scar.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, because I'm sure Johnny wasn't an angel, right?
Yeah. It takes two to tango,
It
basically.
takes two to tango. So did he just have a great legal team? There's so many different factors. There's the truth. There's not the truth. There's always three sides.
Yeah.
Your side, their side, and the
and
truth.
the truth, yeah.
And you have to like figure out like the line between all of that. So poor J-Lo, because I've always enjoyed her music. I've only been in the same room with her. I've never actually like met her
Personally, yeah.
But I've been in the same room with her, and I know her manager. Like not like we're buddies, but you know he was also Tyra's manager for a while.
Yeah.
He was P. Diddy's. You know, Benny Medina was very crucial in her life, and a lot of, you know, of the celebrities or musical talent up and coming. I don't think he does anymore. I think he just has. He might still have J-Lo. I don't know if they're good friends. But,
Yeah.
you know, he's also someone in the business that was feared by many people. So nobody ever wanted to tell him no. So I think that's part of the problem with J-Lo is, you know, there were meetings about this album. There were meetings about the concert tour. Everyone just probably was like, "Oh, it's amazing! It's amazing!" Lavinia was there.
Yeah.
Lavinia was going, "Oh my god,
I'm in Ella. Love me,
J-Lo. Song number 3 speaks to me because right,
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, well, if Lavinia says it's great, well, then it's a great album,
Yeah,
right?"
'cause she's a
Release it.
millennial. She knows.
Yeah, she's a millennial. Her thumb is on the pulse.
But there's a lot of like marketing issues with a lot of big corporations right now where they're just so out of touch. You can kind of argue that. That's what's kind of going in that direction.
Well, because I think a lot of it is they are relying on social media.
Yeah.
So social media is a hit and a miss.
Yeah.
Because you could say something funny and I'm like, oh my God, it's viral. And like everybody's always wanting to go everybody's always wanting their clips or what they're saying to go viral.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just depends. I mean, you know, you just have to, it's the right moment, the right time. You just have to have luck.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
all
even
hit and
think
miss. Yeah.
that you have to be funny or smart. And there's a lot of, you know, people that are not so smart out there. And I don't want to like dig at them, but there are some people that are not so smart. And then they hit it big and they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they're like, oh, great. And then, you know, this brand comes in and says, we want you to represent us. Meanwhile, not really doing a deep search. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh, this person's a felon. They were arrested. And then you hear it like our president.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. America's rebranding.
And then it's okay. And it's all good. Because, you know, pretty soon, 2024 is all about the felons.
Yep.
So, you know, people are going to be trying to get felonies left and right because, you know, Karen Bass and Gruesome Newsome don't do anything. But, you know, I'm not political. Yeah, so, you know, that's kind of what's been going on lately. With me, I probably should kind of like do a recap. So I know last week we talked about how I kind of started my adventure in the healthcare field, right?
Yes.
As
It's
I
been a
cower in
great
a
journey.
corner and I rock back and forth. So I know that I ended it and I said to everybody last week that, you know, I had done the orientation and in my mind, I thought that I was done.
Yeah, it went
right?
very well at the orientation too, by the way.
Oh, Lord, that was a fucking nightmare. So I left off at that point because there's more stories.
Oh, good.
So meanwhile, back at the ranch, I'm still working for my clients and, you know, we are in the beginning processes of trying to learn each other. Sorry, I kicked it. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I was in the beginning process of, you know, learning the ins and outs of my client.
Yeah.
You know, she had a list of things that she would like me to do on a daily basis, whether that be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or there were just certain things every single day. It was 6 days a week. I split my shifts. There's all sorts of things that I do because I didn't know. I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And we'll get more into that. Because I've learned a lot of the things that I do are I'm not supposed to do.
Yes.
And I'm
Covered that.
supposed to nickel and dime
Yes.
her.
Yes.
And I don't nickel and dime her. Like I don't charge her for, you know, not so much it's extra time, but I don't charge her for the split shifts. I don't charge her for the walking of the dog.
Yeah.
Her thing is always like, well, that's why you collect the hours, but there's no not for the amount of money.
I hear you.
Even if it doubled up, it still wouldn't equate to personal assistant, financial consultant, taking care of the mom and the dad on certain days. Like
You'd never make your money back.
Yeah, I never make my money back. There's so many different
hourly wages.
Personal driver. I mean, she's saving thousands
yeah.
on just being a personal driver. Well, although she gives me money for gas each week, it still doesn't come close to the wear and tear on my car. And like I said before, sometimes I put more miles on my car with her than I do with Uber.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And I make more money with Uber, right? So anyways, so, I still haven't gotten paid. And we're in
January,
June.
February, March, April, May, June, 6 months.
We're at month number 6. And
I shouldn't be
so
laughing. I'm sorry.
I'd finished the orientation, and now I waited because I had to clear, and I've said this for live scan, which is fingerprinting.
Yeah.
I had to clear my fingerprint. I had to clear my background. Did I tell that story?
The only part that you left off on was the pitchforks and the knives that came out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
okay.
you were like giving out your number. That's where
Perfect.
you left off.
Perfect. So good. So I haven't told the story yet. So, after the orientation, I had to go and do my fingerprints, and I had to do my background check, which normally takes about, they said, anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, right?
Okay.
Meanwhile, still not getting paid. So I'm like, okay, but I was told that they pay you 90 days, right?
Yes,
So I was
correct.
still within my 90 days. So I really didn't I'm
You
like,
didn't stress
okay,
about
we're
it.
fine.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
within
yeah,
90 days. Wow, it's starting to get closer to 90 days, right? I think we were in April, January, February, March. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I'm
it was in April. You were
I was
stressing.
like, oh, I'm kind of stressing because I don't want to, get dinged and then not get paid, and this is silly. Then I'm basically just doing it out of the kindness of my heart. Like at that point, it's like I should get a tax write-off for everything that I'm doing, right? So back at the ranch, trials and tribulations of having a client and learning her ins and outs, and then back with me. Began the process of trying to figure out why I wasn't getting paid.
Yeah.
So waiting for, my background to check, waiting for my fingerprint. So one day I'm like, I've had it. I was calling the hotline again. Remember for orientation?
Yeah, you had to call the hotline, remember?
I called the hotline. They never could help me because they said I wasn't cleared yet. So I'm like, all right, fine. So now we're at 6 weeks. Now I'm well past the deadline of, 90 days at this point. So I'm really stressed because it's like we're 3 months in. I haven't gotten paid for 3 months. This is a problem for me. And I went into the Burbank office and I told the lady, I said, I went in to their really terrible security, which is a joke. And then I waited in line. My number got called. I went up and the lady was Asian. And the reason why I say this is because it's just not to make fun, but I want you to understand what I was going through at that moment. And so when I spoke to her, she had the most broken English and she didn't understand what I was saying.
Yeah.
And I guess two things were going through my mind. Number one was this person represents Los Angeles County.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I speak English. And I'm assuming everybody speaks English. You come
Or a little bit
or a
of
little bit,
understanding.
right?
Yeah.
But
I see what you're saying.
she didn't know what I was saying. So she handed me a packet of papers. And I'm like, whatever, I'll just fill this out again, right?
Yeah.
I had already filled it out. The first thing they always go to, did you go through orientation? Yes, I went through orientation. Did you get your fingerprints? Yes, I got my fingerprints. Did you get your background check? Yes, but I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah.
I want to know how I can get my timesheets. I never even knew that I had to connect my client and I together, right? There's so many different things. This whole story is going to be like 18 weeks long. So, I go to my little table and I'm filling everything out. And meanwhile, the lobby starts to get really busy. At that point, there probably were about maybe 12 people in the lobby.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't paying attention too much, but this Hispanic lady, Latin, whatever she was, she came out. She was like as tall as my mom, right?
Yeah.
She came out and she was like, who's here? Who's here for? She started like filtering people out.
Yeah.
So she's
like
grabbing.
what they do at the DMV.
She's grabbing people and then she's like yelling at them. She's like, you need to fill this out. You need to. And she's like,
So what they do at the DMV.
and she's like crazy, right? So I'm like, oh God, I hope I don't have to deal with her, right? Oh God, fewer words could ever have been spoken.
Oh no.
I fill out my paperwork and I go back to the Asian lady, right? Thinking, okay, the Asian lady is gonna, take care of me, even though she doesn't speak English.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she did, but it was just, we were having a huge communication issue.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she was not understanding what I was needing, and she didn't understand, and vice versa, right? So, whatever. All of a sudden, from behind me, I hear, "What are you here for?"
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, I haven't gotten paid. I'd like to know the next steps of getting paid. And she says to me, "Well, did you go to the orientation?"
You know why they do that, right? It's for this exact reaction. Look at your face. Look at how done you are. You are supposed to quit, and they are not supposed to pay you. That's the whole purpose of it.
We could have played a drinking game.
Oh, yeah.
Out of every time I got asked, did I do orientation? I mean, I would have
You
been
walked out
rip
plaster.
roaring, plaster drunk for the week at least.
Oh, man.
And so I said to her, "Yes, I did." To which she grabbed the paperwork out of my hand. She's, "Then why are you doing this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just asked the lady here, the Asian lady I pointed to her. I threw her under the bus big time."
Good.
Like, "Meh."
Good.
I said, and this is what she gave to me. So well, why are you filling out again? And I'm like,
I just told you.
I don't know. I just want to get paid, right? I was just like so frustrated and I was so defeated at that point. So she looks at the lady and she goes, she like rolled her eyes. Okay. I mean, this is supposed to be a professional place.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's representing L.A. County, a government system, but we all know how government
Okay,
works.
thank you for sharing. And so she takes the paperwork and she tears it up
Aye.
and she throws it in the wastebasket,
Again.
which is like right there, right? She doesn't shred it. It's got my social.
Oh, no.
It's got my name. It's got like all the information that's personal, right? So
Part
I'm like,
2. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do. You got to go into government. Just revamp the system.
So then I began to get yelled at by this little lady who reminded me of my mom because she was the same size. Not that my mom yelled at me, but I'm just saying. And here I am. I moved away from my body because everything that was coming out of her mouth, I just wanted to stab her in the neck.
I thought you were going to say I've heard already.
Yeah, well, that too. But at this point, I was like, I see why sometimes people choose violence.
Oh, yeah.
Because at that moment in my life, I wanted to hurt people.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted people.
You wanted to go
hurt
postal, yeah.
As for lack of a better word, and I know that's horrible because like, school shootings. But listen, it's your fucking fault, LA County. It's your fault. I would sue them.
Yes, and then they go, well, how come? How do you do it? It's like,
What
are
do
you kidding
mean
me?
The bus drivers, we protected them.
Yeah,
No, you
yeah.
don't protect
Yeah.
anybody except yourselves.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. Anyway, so that's let me get my soapbox. And so she began to like dissect me, and I'm like, what the fuck? So she goes, "Did you do orientation?" "Yes, I did orientation." "Well, in the orientation, they tell you all of the steps," and I was like,
Not really.
I don't think so. At what point? Where's my timesheets? Where's this? Where's that? And then she's, "Well, did you get the email?" And I'm like, "What email?" And she's, "You should have gotten the email." And I was like, okay. And so I pulled my phone out. I looked at my spam. Where's
No
the email
email.
coming from? "Well, LA County saying that you passed your background or you passed your fingerprints." And I said, "No, I haven't. It's been 6 weeks." And she goes, "Well, it's supposed to clear in 2." And I was like,
I'm telling you right now what's going on.
in the video, it says 4 to 6.
So she didn't even know.
Well, it wasn't that. I just think that, there's so much misinformation going back and forth that people
Yeah.
just kind of make up their own narrative,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So she says to me, "Hold on." And I'm like, oh, God. So she starts yelling at the lady in the booth because they're encased in glass, fishbowl, right?
Yeah.
"Can you check for me, Verdugo?" And she's yelling my name. She's yelling my social security number. She's yelling my address. Okay. "What does it say?" And she's yelling, asking another person is like behind the desk, like furiously typing, like, and they're waiting for a response. Like you can see like the Commodore 64 is like trying to give her a response.
That's a
right?
good one.
And she's just like looking around. She's what's going on? She's like it's thinking, right? And so now she's frustrated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, don't look her in the eye. So then, meanwhile, while she wasn't looking, I went to the basket and I grabbed my paperwork and I right.
Yeah,
So
to
I'm
tear it
tearing
all
shit
up.
up. And so then all of a sudden she goes like this, and she turns to me, "You're fine. You're cleared." And I was like,
Thank you. Yeah.
How was I supposed to know that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why you didn't get the email. Okay, yeah, well, clearly me neither.
Yeah.
Right? Me neither. So then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so frustrated. And so then she goes, well, I go, so now what do I do? Well, it was in your orientation. Now we're back.
Yeah.
Now we're back.
Now
we are back. And I was just like, oh my God. I think with my blood sugar level low, there needs to be a reason right now why I choose violence, right? So she says to me, there's a website that you go to. It was in your orientation. And I was like, well, I remember that. And I said, wait a second, that was like a big old long URL. And at that moment, so in the lobby waiting room, there's like their propaganda. I call it their propaganda. So it's like, join the LA County, right? Blah, 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 blah. And there's like some lady walking with like a book and they're like, oh my God, it's amazing.
They look all happy when it's like a nightmare.
They're not happy at all whatsoever. And then they said, this is the URL for the IHSS, whatever, right? So she goes, that's it. I had to take a picture of it. I had to wait for it to come around again.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm sitting there waiting for it to come around again, and I took a picture of my phone. In that photo, there are like 29 characters in that URL, which, by the way, it literally comes up for mere seconds, as it did in the orientation video.
So, yeah, it's easy to get lost. Again, that's the whole point. Look at your face, everybody. I mean, that's the point of all this. You're supposed to quit, and they're not supposed to deal with you. Then you do it for free, and that's that.
It was awful.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, hey, at least you don't have to work with her all the time.
So I take a picture of it on the TV screen,
yes.
And I look at I go, so you wanted me to remember this? And so she starts like, well, you went to orientation. I go, okay. I said, do me a favor. I'm a 50-year-old man, and you're yelling at me like my mother.
Yeah.
And I said, and you're not my mom. I go, so I need you to tone it down.
Yeah.
And the security guard was like, oh, like all of a sudden, people were listening. Right?
Because you stood up to her,
I stood up to her, and the whole lobby was like, you could hear people like,
it got silent.
Right? And I'm like, oh God, it's orientation all over again. Oh my God, it's orientation all over again. So I was very careful about what I said, and I said, listen, I just want to get paid. Thank you for finding out. I appreciate that. Thank you for, what are my next steps? The website.
Yeah.
Go to the website. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I thought that it was over. I walked out of there. No violence was chosen. Everybody lived that day, which was great and wonderful. And I got in my car and I came home. And, of course, I got busy. Finally, 2 days later, I checked the website and I was like, that's weird because I can't get my client. So I called my client and I said, hey, what's your case number? Who's your social worker?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it. So I called the hotline again.
Aye.
Yeah. And I was on hold, right?
Yeah.
The first person, I'm trying to tell her what I need, right? I said, oh, hi. I said, I'm calling because this. Orientation. She asked me like the same things, right? Orientation, I got it. And then all of a sudden she just goes click. And I'm like,
oh, it's the
worst.
worst.
Oh, no. But it gets better. I thought I got disconnected.
Okay.
I didn't get disconnected.
Oh, okay.
She put me back into the system.
No.
Yes.
Oh, the worst.
She didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
She put me back into the
Yep.
system. So I was like, because the music's awful.
Yeah, it is.
The music is awful.
And it just
so
keeps
I was
repeating.
like, oh my God. So then I was on hold for about 30 minutes. And I'm not kidding you. The next sound I hear is, hello? And I'm like, is this the IHSS? And he goes, what do you want? It sounded like he was hiding in a closet
Yeah.
somewhere, like on the phone. Like, I'm not supposed to be answering the phone, but I'm going to do it right now, right?
My mom's in the next room. Hurry up.
And I said, well, I'm calling because blah, blah. And I started telling my whole story. Click. It goes back to the music.
Oh, no.
What the hell is going on? Oh, my God. Finally, another 30 minutes goes by, and I get the third person.
Yes.
And I go, oh, hi. I said, I'm calling because I was all happy, right? I've been on the phone for like 2 hours waiting, and I'm like, hi. Like, I'm trying to figure out the next steps in getting my timesheets. And she goes, well, you have to go online, select your client. I go, well, I can't select my client. I go, I've cleared. She goes, did you do orientation? Yes, I did orientation. She goes, and I go, and to beat her to the punch, I said, and I cleared my background and I cleared my fingerprints.
And I visited that damn URL. Can we
Right?
continue?
Thank you. And she goes, oh, well, now you have to connect your account with your client's account.
Yeah.
So your client has to tell her social worker, which back at the ranch, my client had already done that back in January.
Oh.
He never called her. She's still waiting for a phone call for her social worker who never called. So, I said, okay, well, great. I said, can you send, what do I need to do? She goes, well, she needs to go online. I go, well, she's blind.
She's blind, yeah.
So she can't do that. Oh, well, then you need to do it this way. I need to mail her a letter and she will fill it out. And I'm thinking, did you not just hear what I said? And I said, so basically I'm filling it out. She goes, well, your client's supposed to fill it out. And I'm like,
how can she do that?
Hello. She can't do that.
Yeah.
She's blind. Of course, that's a major detail. And so the lady says to me, we're going to send out letter. They don't refer to it as like, connecting your client together, right? It's there's numbers.
Yeah.
SC04W. I mean, literally, it's 10 letters long. So I'm like, sure, if that's the letter, send it to me. This is my address. She says, no, for security, we don't do that. We send it to your client.
Yeah.
So she sent it to my client. She says, wait 7 to 10 days.
All right, whole another 2 weeks.
When the letter comes after 7 to 10 days, fill it out, send it back, right?
Yeah.
Wait 7 to 10 more days, and then call back. Because then we'll have received the information and we can connect your accounts together.
Yeah.
So that started.
That was in March, right?
That was April.
Oh, was it April?
That was April that started. Because January, February, March, right? That started in April.
Yeah, okay.
And meanwhile, I'm like, we're already past the 90 days. So I went from being angry to sad to just like, all I can do is laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked to Auntie Susie. I tried to like reach out to anybody that I could possibly think of that would be able to help me, right? So I would get advice here, I get advice there. And anyways, so, we're waiting for the letter. Finally, the day comes, right?
Like Christmas.
The letter comes. And guess who fills it out? Me.
You do.
I fill it out, right? I fill it out, and then, I put my client's signature because she can't see.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a stupid system to begin with. Anyways, me being, crossing my T's and dotting my I's, I go to the post office and I certify mail it. I certify mail it because I want there to be proof that it went to someone.
Yes.
And that it was signed for.
Yes.
Right? That's why you do certified mail.
My mom would be so proud of you right now.
Right? Okay. So I'm excited for myself. I'm like, fuck,
you're
these
like,
people.
finally.
Yes. Documentation.
They didn't beat me. They didn't win.
They didn't win, right? Again, how wrong I was. And so, sent it in. And I waited my 7 to 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
I called back. I did the whole 3-day process. I finally got into someone. Hi, I'd like to connect my account. I sent this letter in, blah, 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 whatever, yeah. And the lady says to me, we haven't received the information yet. And I said, oh, well, it went to Chatsworth. And I certified mailed it. And I told her, this is who signed for it. She goes, I don't work in that office.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And I said, well, can you transfer me or connect me to someone that is in that office? I can't do that.
Yeah, I can't do that, yeah.
Okay, so who do I talk to? Well, you're just going to have to wait.
Oh, no.
Wait 7 to 10 more days. She goes, I'll send you new paperwork just in case it got lost in the mail. I'm like, I certified mailed it.
So wouldn't
How
you?
could it get lost in the mail? How? I don't understand, right? So I'm going to end it right there because I have more to tell you. Because we're not done yet. We're not done.
We're not even close.
So like J-Lo, I'm going to cancel LA County at this time so I can go be with my family.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you enjoy being with your family this weekend. Have a great time. Enjoy yourself. It's June. It's Pride Month. Go be prideful. Don't be angry like me. And with that being said, always remember to do it like Danny.
Bye.